Hello everyone, today the topic of this video will be Godfather versus Sopranos. I hope you enjoy. Mafia fiction has had a huge impact on American pop culture for decades now, and the two biggest titans that paved the way for mafia culture to have such a stranglehold were The Godfather and Sopranos. Both IPs came out at the perfect time and shaped millions of minds across America because of it. The purpose of this video will be compare and contrast the Sopranos and Godfather to see how they influenced the greater pop culture in general. First thing viewers have to know when watching both The Godfather and Sopranos is that the creators' intentions are vastly different. David Chase didn't romanticize the mafia to the degree that Francis Ford Coppola did. All the flaws were on display right from the season 1 and only grew more grotesque as the series went on. Tony Soprano wasn't the suave, good-looking war hero Michael started out as. Instead, he was a big, overweight, balding, temperamental rogue that was indoctrinated to be in a mob from birth. In general, the worlds that these IPs reside in are completely different. The Mafia in The Godfather is at the height of their power and influence, while the Mafia in The Sopranos is at the tail end and only weakening. Still, one similarity that both franchises come to an agreement on is how untrustworthy people in the Mafia are in general. From top all the way to the bottom, everyone is self-interested and puts their needs and wants over the families, while the characters in The Sopranos wear their greed on all their shoulders. Godfather's characters hide it better, almost tricking the viewer into believing they are more noble than they actually are. Michael versus Tony. Now, in terms of the overall story, the Godfather series follows the rise and eventual succession of Michael Corleone. The Sopranos does away with all that by starting at a point where Tony has already gained the power and respect of his family and leaves him in practically the same spot by the end of the series. Each season has Tony Soprano dealing with a new problem, either internally or externally. Both IPs did well, showing our protagonists going through problems they couldn't just send somebody to suit. Michael's problem was dealing with the loss of his soul as he engrossed himself deeper into the criminal underworld, while Tony Soprano was dealing with feelings of never truly having a chance at a normal life. The loss of both their innocence has these characters acting out in violent, vindictive ways, which makes them very similar to one another. Now, in terms of the differences between both characters, a lot of it comes down to demeanor. Tony Soprano is very impulsive and prone to violence. Some of that is because of his big frame, which allows him to push others around. Another reason is because of the crew he leads. The Soprano family is more untrustworthy than the Corleone family. As the Soprano show went on, we, the viewer, were shown how much backstabbing goes on, and to wonder how anyone is able to make it to the top with how much everyone flips. In the Corleone family, there's a decent amount of respect amongst the family, which keeps anyone from turning states or joining another crew. Now, in terms of Michael versus Tony, Michael is more cunning, quiet, inquisitive, which makes him that much easier for his family to take on his identity. Similarities. Now, in terms of what makes both Michael and Tony similar is the fact that despite both operating outside the law, both Michael and Tony had some respect for the government and its faculty at one point in their lives. Michael joined the Marines to fight in World War II, and Tony felt regret towards Officer Wilmore after getting him reprimanded. Even though they live lives outside of the law, they still believe it has a place in their world to some degree. Okay, that's part 1 of my Godfather versus Sopranos video. I hope you enjoyed. Part 2 will be coming up soon.